Yeah, do the naughty thing. He didn't do the naughty thing. But yeah, no, we got a few things to cover. We talk about band management, talk about graphic design, talk about art itself, and a little bit of politics.
Yeah, like fucking. Yeah, we can talk about like Tattersalls as well. Like, fucking, why is it such a shithole now? But like, it used to be the best place in Penrith. You know, like
I've got stories about that. Actually, I've got stories about that. Hey, I think we're ready to jump in. What do you reckon?
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Let's just jump right in.
Yeah.
And welcome to the Pagey Train. Today I have in the studio with me Chad and Andrew. Chad guitarist, general muso into heavy metal, and another dude who's severely into heavy metal. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Fucking oath.
Yeah, fucking oath, man. Well, man, it's always good to have you on the show because we always talk art and craziness. But I think between all three of us, we've had a lot of experience in Western Sydney in particular.
Yeah.
With heavy metal bands. Like, I think we're of the age as well where we've seen a lot. We've watched the dips and falls of the music scene in Western Sydney.
Yeah, there's been some fucking good shows like in Western Sydney. You know, like more recently than like when it was like, you know, 2019. There was like fuck all, but somehow like, you know, saw Polaris at Alpha and Panthers. I was like,
you never thought
you'd never see like fucking.
It's the only place in Penrith.
So I'm like, oh, okay, it's good that there's some effort being made, you know.
Yeah.
Well, do you think?
But it used to be way better.
Do you think it's hunger from after COVID? Is that what it is? It's like you know, stretching out the cobwebs.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do unless the footy's on or, you know, the pub. It's like, you know, people miss having something else that's like. There's a lot of other good stuff that's open in Penrith.
Penrith's a job in town.
There's heaps of different restaurants and, you know, different types of bars, which could be. It gives you options, but it feels like live music is the only.
It's the only missing key. Like, if it had that key, it would be perfect,
they used
right?
to have live music, and then now it's kind of all the other types of venues have had the chance to open up. But it'd be good if there was somewhere that embraced, you know, putting shows on at least 3 or 4 nights a week, like they used to. Then you'd be there for, you know, 3 nights in a row watching bands that are from the area or interstate or whatever. But then, you know, you have to go into the city or, you know, watch Ed Sheeran if you want to go. It's like
straight up.
Good on him. He's sold like 100,000 or more tickets. Good on him. But like, it'd be good if like someone from Australia that, you know, wanted to be a musician could actually go and play at fucking local venues. You know, and people start out like you don't start out doing 100,000. That's what people want to skip to, but
the best crowds I ever played in front of was in Penrith, and the commentary was always the same at shows when you go, because you know you go and mingle with the audience later and you know and talk shop, and because everyone's into metal and it's a fun situation, right? And the common thing that was said at those shows was, you know, you got to travel an hour to get into the city to go and watch local shows. So to have a local show here, people come out of the woodwork.
Local shows in the city because like no one's from the city. Like 1 in 100 bands is from the city, but like. Every other band, it costs like $100 to just like get yourself in the van to the venue. You're not even getting paid.
Yeah.
It's in the city. It's like people have to catch the train there and like, you know,
straight up.
Uber and all. It's like it's too fucked to go to the city. You know, if you had a show 10 minutes from your house, you'd go every week, wouldn't you? Like,
imagine like playing a show and then like that. The fucking libs, man. Like they don't put any investment. Like
Frank, have you been to the Log?
Or to the casino that isn't even open yet. Like, how good was that decision? But we can't afford to have like the pubs that make fucking $30 million a week probably on pokies, but we really can't afford to pay the sound guy, so you guys can have like a sip of lemonade each, like but like sell out the venue or else.
Sip of lemonade, that's pretty generous. I'd go for that. That's a good deal.
It's like that's between everyone.
Man, like
only one each.
It's fucking
to wet your lips.
It's not like they have pokies like fucking earning $1 million a second.
That's what like my dad is like fucking 59 this year, and he was saying that like 80s and 90s there was just always bands playing like that were like rocking.
I think everyone's parents is like, even the people that we think now like, oh, they're boomers or whatever. Like, even they had live music when they
way more often than what we did.
Chilled out, like
like my dad would say that he saw fucking
we've got option 1, stay home and watch like Netflix, or 2 is like just go to the pub and or the movies, or like there's like or the footy if it's in the season. Like there's no other option. People are bored. Like they need to get out of the house.
Yeah, but I think Penrith's gonna have that going on. Like
100%.
I always say to myself, if I won like the Powerball and like $100 million, I would totally buy like a property in Penrith and set up a comedy slash
people don't
music
realize
venue.
Penrith is like it's not the same as it was 20 years ago,
it's
or even
developed
10 years
a lot.
ago, or even 5 years. Like it's changed dramatically in good and bad ways. But right now, it's like people that haven't been to Penrith in a while, you'd be like, Penrith, it's near the Blue Mountains, and there's nothing to do. It's like there's nothing to do in the city either. Like
there's literally like
there's stuff
7
to do.
venues.
There's almost too much to do. Like don't come to Penrith. There's too much
pubs
to
in
do.
Penrith are pretty good, man. I think that's testament to like the whole genre, right?
The only thing missing is like a consistent live music. Like I wouldn't even leave Penrith if there was live music. Like there's nothing else.
Well,
there's going to be an airport like. Maybe an airport close by will encourage, international artists to be like, we can land there. We can play a show just as big as any other city in Penrith.
Well, it's a perfect name for a venue. You go, just call it the Riff, right?
Yeah,
Riff,
that's a mad fucking music venue name.
If people can travel to Penrith to watch the Panthers play, like they can travel to watch bands, or they can, there's
plenty of people in Penrith that will go as well.
Yeah. It's always
you can have medium shows for
sure.
sure.
There's like more people than ever. Like the population is booming in Penrith.
Like even the RSL, like when I used to live across the road from the RSL, they would have like cover bands like every week. It's like, why has this venue got more live music?
Yeah, there'd be like 500 people watching like a covers. Like fair enough.
But
also,
and they're getting paid for it as well.
We also used to have we used to have local shows, and they were full too. Like there was something for everyone.
Yeah.
Now there's like covers band night. Like no wonder there's 800 people there. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, but the cover band sort of thing is about reminiscence as well.
Oh yeah, I'm not
about
it. Like you go there and you have the best night of your life. Like, and you go, I didn't really want to go to the cover bands, but you go and you're like, it's fucking live music. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah,
but it's like
the whole
it's
literally the physical experience of watching live music. Doesn't matter if they're the best or the worst. Like you could literally stand in a room with 10
the
people.
songs.
What do you think if they get
this is at least you're there. But if you go into a room with 1,000 people and everyone's just like jamming the fuck out, like it's pretty fun no matter who's playing.
That's right, and I think Penrith crowds are hungry for that.
Oh yeah,
they definitely are. And that's the experience that I've had with them, and it's because not just that travel distance, it's also about being representative of your region, man. Like there's an art scene in Penrith. I found it amazing actually. Recently I come across because I'm in doing film and stuff like that, and I come across someone that's looking for filmmakers in Penrith going, there's nobody about. I'm like, are you serious? There is plenty of people about. Plenty of artists about, man, Made in the West and filmmakers and the bands that how many people do you know that are in a band? There's plenty of artists.
That's what
everyone has people that are like, oh yeah, they grew up in Penrith or the mountains. I suppose you would lump together, but there's this huge community of like people that support music and want to go and they go interstate and will go to a festival or what. Like, it would be nice to have something close to home, and there's enough people here that would be into any kind of
I think there's a big
ongoing kind of like, we go there every week to watch music. It doesn't have to be every week, but that that it's on if you want if there's something to do.
Yeah, totally, man. One thing I've been seeing spring up into the festival side of things, because I think there's a hunger for film and music, right?
Yeah.
To go and see niche film, because you can stream any amazing content anywhere. Yeah. But what you don't see is local stuff on screen. And you don't see that.
If you asked me to find something from Penrith, I would literally just go to YouTube and type Penrith. That's the only option.
Oh man,
straight up.
You find some cool, interesting stuff, but there's no. You watch anything on Channel 7 or Channel 9, and it's like, we're in the Sydney Harbour. It's like that's the only place that exists.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for every other suburb because I wouldn't know how to find something from another area.
Yeah, that's right. 2 million people live in Western Sydney, man.
But it's everywhere's growing, and it'd be like, there's no way to kind of narrow in on it.
Oh look. The best music video Made in the West last year was from a Penrith music video called Only One, and it was filmed around Chicken Man in Kingswood.
Oh yeah, Chicken Man.
There's people doing shit, man. I've never seen Chicken Man look so luxurious.
Yeah, it's like the dodgiest looking shop on the corner of across the road from Kingswood Station.
Yeah.
That's fucking hectic.
It's been there forever, I think, and then now they're getting there. It's we all know if you're from Western Sydney, you know what we're talking about.
That's right. If you're from Penrith, you know what it is.
It's
like near Domino's.
I never thought about it like that, but it's People talk about it.
Is it next to Subway? Like on that little...
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's like
and
KFC,
Domino's
but
is
it's
like...
called
And they had the
chicken.
Gravity Cafe there. There's always that one that keeps changing.
Yeah,
It's like
the pub's on the other side
Yeah.
where fucking Bob Cattle or something.
It looks like the scariest pub ever. Like,
it used to be my local.
I'm too scared to go in.
It used to be my
man.
local
like-
for like 10 years, man. I went there a long time. I know
like-
the people there.
It's
Yeah.
like fucking Grey,
No, like
Grey
I'm more
Gums.
just like yeah.
Some of them are quite crazy,
It's
but-
one of those like you can tell it's just a
Most of them are
battler local pub. Like
Oh yeah, man. I remember I went.
I feel like if I walked in there, like everyone in there would already know each other, and they'd be like,
Who's this
even though
guy?
I live like a kilometer away, they'd be like, you know, yeah,
Who's
it's
this
such
guy?
a Kingswood is like a tight knit.
It is. They
It's like they're not Penrith, they're Kingswood. You know,
It's the Penrith inside Penrith.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's another universe in Kingswood.
It is, mate. It is. Well, because I went to uni out there. I lived there.
Yeah, I
for
went to
10
the
years.
Warrington.
Yeah, Warrington campus. Yeah, South Warrington.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was the one that's like further down the hill, you know, not the one that's at Kingswood. Yeah, Warrington South. I can't remember.
Warrington South. That's where I went. Yeah, building BJ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where I went to uni as well.
Yeah. And the TVS was right next to it.
Yeah.
That's where I used to work. I used to run that. Yeah.
Yep.
Back in, I started.
That was like that blew my mind. I was like the West, like that, the facilities at like the University of Western Sydney or whatever it's called now.
Mm.
It was UWS when I went, and they like the same amount of people that went into the degree I did at Western Sydney was. You know, if I wanted to do that at Sydney Uni, I would have had to have like a 98, you know, whatever. But then when I actually got there to the Western Sydney campus, it was like brand new, like better than you could imagine. I went and toured the one at Sydney Uni, and it's like, oh, this is shit. So I've heard so many stories of people that have ended up working at TVS or whatever. It's like great state of the art facilities, and it's like, how is it not bigger than it is? It's
Well, the scene that was behind that, the Metro Screen and TVS, all of those producers behind that, they're the sort of people that are forming what we're talking about, and that's that music and film scene.
Yeah.
Like, the film scene in Western Sydney is vibrant as fuck, man. Like, I can't tell enough people, like, we get...
Like, one of the things I heard back then was, I don't know if you know this or not, I think I heard this, I might be wrong, but someone filmed, like, I think it was a Temper Trap music video at the studio, because they told me, and I was like, at the time, the Temper Trap was like, oh, like, wow, then maybe they're from here, or I don't know. But anyway, I know the video was filmed, I think, at those studios.
Okay.
And it was like, I think it was, I don't know if it was Sweet Disposition, or I could be totally wrong, but anyway, it was a band, something
Temper
like
Trap
that.
was that TVS band.
At the time, like, they filmed the music video there, or they got, I don't know, it was something that was like, since then, I'm like, I haven't heard any like, you know, no one cares if you film it in Penrith or this, like Western. Everyone's like, we got to go somewhere else.
There's a lot of locations in Penrith.
So that's what I mean, though. There is, like, for not just outside, but like an actual proper studio.
Man, you could be amongst the CBD view to a picket fence to a rail yard, all within 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and the parking's free.
Yeah,
great place to make a movie.
Yeah,
it is actually. It was like Penrith.
Yeah, man.
I would watch it, man. I think a lot of people would.
A lot of movies are starting to get made here, man. They're going to build a studio down the road.
Let's go. Like, literally, you just
straight up. Bro, like,
it's bustling though, is my point. It's a bustling
it's like
scene.
they filmed fucking Star Wars here, like
also,
Attack of the Clones
like,
and Revenge.
Weird Penrith shit. Like it's
not in Penrith,
like,
but in Sydney.
It's an interesting like.
I wish it was in Penrith.
Yeah, like down at the river, there's like a shark eating like people that went to the coffee club. Like that's a movie right there, man. Like. If you think about it, every movie that's made in Hollywood is made somewhere in them. Like, who the fuck knows where, whatever town they're in, but it's always like that town has a character.
Yeah.
So if you made a movie about Penrith, I think you'd have an interesting movie.
Yeah, totally. But my point is that people are doing it.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
man. There's people making movies out Liverpool. There's people making movies in Campbelltown.
They got to do Blacktown or Mount Druitt at some point. Like,
yeah, man. Oh, they've just done the Last King of the Cross out at St Mary's.
It's like right next to the what was like Wet and Wild or whatever.
Yeah. There's the streets there.
Correct name, whatever it is now.
The place where the water slides are.
Yeah, exactly.
The excessive water slides.
St
Mary's is just
like right next to the highway. But anyway, they build a set, like
the whole
they built
street.
the mini like
there's
King's
a town
Cross.
there. Yeah.
Because like you drive past and you're like, you know, you see something's kind of there.
Yeah.
But then there's also people like on a water slide, just like.
Well, that's built from the workforce in Western Sydney.
That's so cool.
You know, and there's other projects like that, man. And my point is that it's bustling, and I think there's people in government at the moment that just don't see that. Like,
yeah,
yeah, like Stuart Ayres is like, oh, I'd rather try and get like John Barrella a job in New York than like do anything for Penrith other than like be on Channel News. Like,
well, they would rather get an.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do this and that. But it's like, man, I've never seen that guy in Penrith.
not
Like,
there's
as if
anything-
he lived, like,
Well, not there's anything wrong with opera, but they would be more attuned to getting an opera singer out to the Joan Sutherland, right? They would be more attuned to funding gigs like
the
that.
stuff that's like easy for them.
Yeah,
It's already there, and they go, oh
easily
yeah,
measurable.
we'll just get a photo up at this like place that no one goes to, like,
they-
you know, except for politicians.
Like,
but also there is like a community of people that go to those things. But it's like, it's amazing that they're funded and they have that space. Like,
but is that the
what
residents of the community?
But
though?
like, you know, if it's like an opera, you know, performance, which I can imagine, you know, people would go to and they probably sell out. But like, if a death metal band or like, you know, we're not going to go to the Joan Sutherland, you know, PSR and, you know,
Straight.
do a fucking heavy,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
let's
true.
open up the pit in the Joan Sutherland, like, you know, like they
I
could.
think there's a market for that. I
Well,
think we
maybe
can go
there
over
is,
that.
but
maybe
like,
we could do that.
But also, like, wouldn't there be a nice
Nothing's
place?
impossible.
Everyone, like, you know, we would all be fighting over the building, like, you know.
I think I know the manager there. I should get in touch.
Yeah.
But like, just wait,
But like,
like,
don't tell anyone if it's a opera or a fucking death metal show.
yeah, just
See who
say
shows
that
up.
you're a Christian rock band or something.
Yeah.
The Hillsong get away with it. They massive stadium, the Hillsong.
And then
like,
when they get there, they're like, "Oh, Hellsong!" Like,
Hellsong, yeah, that's
Yeah.
mad metal band. Hellsong for
there would be
Hillsong.
so many complaints.
So many tax concessions. Let's just look at the tax return.
Seniors discount. We're like, "Fuck, we didn't get any money off this." Like,
Yeah. No
Oh.
tax on gigs, man. That'd be great.
you know what's crazy is like you can walk to Penrith Station on a Friday afternoon and it's not illegal or breaking any noise restrictions for people saying their religious stuff like at the bottom of the stairs, you know.
Oh, just for Scotty B. I've watched him go up to people going, "Turn it fucking off."
It sounds just like him.
I saw a dude walk past one and he was like being like
Shout out, Scotty B.
like, yeah, mad dog, you know. But like, I remember walking to the intersection and this Aussie battler in a tradie, like 50, 60, and in a tradie outfit, just going past like this preacher, just being like, "Shut the fuck up," you know, like, "You're the fucking problem," you know. And then a car accident happened, and he was like, "You did that." He was just like, he's just like, "You're the fucking devil, mate,"
It's like,
you know.
if literally anyone else, like, I reckon if any one of us went down to Penrith and just started talking into a microphone on a loudspeaker, like,
Doing-
you'd be like,
Oh, like fucking
like, no one.
stand
It doesn't
up.
matter what you have to say. Like, I don't want to hear that shit like at the train station. you know?
Yeah.
There should be like,
Oh yeah, but it's free country, man.
Yeah,
You know?
well,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
More power
But
to them.
people should have the freedom to like not be harassed with, you know, other people. If I want to learn about religion, I go, like, there's a church or a, you know, and they don't pay tax, so like,
yeah,
you know, like, I'm not like worried. Oh, the guy that has to preach to everyone needs like the freedom to do that. Like, he has the freedom to do that, but like, wouldn't you just choose to let people come to you?
yeah.
Or not. It's like the same. Like, that is like the same as when people are trying to go, oh, you know, oh, how's your, you know, day? What are you listening to? And then they're like, oh, you want to sign up for this like charity or what? It's the same thing. Like, I don't even think that should happen either.
Yeah,
to me, it's the same thing. They're selling something to you.
I got a theory.
Yeah, well, do you know where homeless people used to sleep?
Yeah.
The church, man. It's the last place to go. It's salvation, right?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not
They don't
saying that's, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't even let homeless people sleep in there. Like, what, they're not even doing their job. What they
Yeah.
originated and started doing, man.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. Like,
It's like-
Jesus helps the poor, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fucking shelter that the community built and goes,
Yeah.
man, if things are rough,
But like,
sleep in
they've
there.
got like
I-
literally more money than anyone, and they're like, yeah, no, we need that. You know, we don't need to pay tax, or like, you know, you could just get a job and buy.
Yeah.
You know,
That's why all that
rent is
exists.
really cheap.
I got a
You know.
theory.
That's why all those conditions exist for the church, because they're doing. That's for people doing it tough, man. You know, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Oh, but like, why are people still doing it tough and they've still got money? Like, they should be poor. Like, that's how a non-profit works.
But it's like you see buskers.
You're not
Yeah,
supposed to keep all the money. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to go back to zero and go, all right, we spent all the money you gave us. Now we've got more to do. Like,
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
got more money than they'll ever spend ever, because they won't spend it and help people.
Oh no,
Yeah.
they buy property.
Yeah. But like,
Prayer
no one lives-
rooms.
like, yeah, oh, man, they should
Yeah.
pay everyone's rent. Like, you know, help
Lobby groups.
keep people. Yeah.
Lobby groups are expensive, man.
No, but you know what's
You need to
fucked?
get that shit away from tax. We can
Yeah.
up the bill.
You know what's you know like how
Nothing
like
nefarious.
I got a theory. I reckon like when buskers, like, you think about people that are like, you know, trying to earn some coin from playing like a musical instrument, fucking some Christian cunt, I bet, just like went, well, I guess can do
Yeah, I'm gonna
my thing
yell-
on the street
I'm gonna
as
read
well.
this book like really loud. Whether you like it or not.
I don't like that devil music coming out of that busker.
Like, fair enough. Like, it is funny in like a certain point of view. It's like, I don't have to believe it, and they're more than free to do that as well.
Yeah, man,
I'm free to kind of like.
Makes them feel good.
I don't have a problem with people spreading whatever, peaceful message or whatever they want to do, but it's also like a lot of these people, they come across aggressive. Oh, you're living the wrong way. You're like,
and it's like, fuck off.
And it's like, all right, like what? This isn't even line up with the material you gave me last time. Like, be a good person. Like, no, like you're not doing that. Like, you're in my face at the train station, telling me we're all going to hell. Like. Yeah, you're really doing a good job signing people up. It's that's not the message that's like it should be.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bit out of date. I think we can agree it's out of date.
But Christians, like,
no wonder people don't want to do that anymore.
There's this weird thing that's like going on where like there's a movement of like being oppressed, like at a Christian, like an oppressed like Christian person, like like when
they're apparently
they're acting so victim right now as well. Like not entirely. I just mean there's
a lot of them aren't even living at the core of what it really is, but it's like a badge of honor or something. As it's a lifestyle more than it's become do these people religiously believe and live what they?
It's also an
if they've read the book that they keep quoting, it's like, did you even read it? Like, you're saying all this shit is bad, but then you do all the other shit that's bad. Like,
it's full of
you're
hypocrisy,
choosing, like. There are probably a handful of people that live and like admit, they're not perfect and whatever, but these people pretend that they're perfect, and if you're not like them, you're like going to hell.
Yeah, but they believe that the only way you can have morals is if it's written in this book.
Yeah, but they don't even have those. They don't even live by those morals. I bet they time.
Of course, I bet
they. That's what's annoying about it is like I respect the people that if they say whatever book it is, it's a religion or whatever other belief. You read it and go, this is how I'm going to, like, actually do it or don't. Like,
well, I think it's going to turn off its head, though, because of what they found with the age of pyramids and stuff like this, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, the ancient Sumerians is where it all stems from, right? So, we base time off this, We've got before Christ, right? And then we got after Dominion, I think AD is supposed to be.
It's all like,
But it's all based off the birth of Jesus Christ, right? So, even the clock that we run on is based on religion. And now you're going to figure out that Sumerians aren't the oldest fucking people. It's actually been going on for 30,000 years. It totally invalidates the whole fucking story.
What's fascinating about it?
They don't want that getting out. It's not profitable. It's not profitable for them. They're an institution. They've got problems.
Yeah.
But like, it's
way bigger than trying to prove that an invisible man exists.
Imagine trying to convince everyone now, like, hey, all right, we're going to, like, now there's like 50 days in a month. Like they can't even get, like how did they do it back then? They were just like, we'll kill you if you don't agree. Like it's this date. It's like, how did they if you tried to say, hey, like let's come up with our own brand new we'll use AI to tell us like how many days there are in a year,
it's technological,
and come up with the best thing ever. Like people would be like, no, like
in religion, like,
you can't convince anyone to do anything.
Well, they used to say like God's everywhere, God's always watching, and at one point
having a wank, he's like watching you wanking. Apparently.
Well, at one point the government's gone, we don't care about that because we've got cameras everywhere, so we're watching everything anyway in real time. So we don't need the story anymore. We don't need the story. We've actually got it. We can record shit and fucking track data and track people.
But it's like, I reckon, like, the ones that get super, super preachy and in your face, it's like, maybe they actually haven't had a wank for, like, 50 years or something, and...
Yeah, or maybe it's worse than that. Like, I think it's people that do that sort of thing have had a trauma, they've recovered from that trauma, and they want to just make other people that have perhaps felt that way feel better. But the problem is that it depends what kind of brain you've got, I guess, and how what your experiences are.
Yeah, that's fair.
We all know that religious person that we have as a friend that was like, oh yeah, my family used to be religious, but we got out of that shit.
I think it's also like people, it's not like a black and white, like you're religious or not religious. Some people, like, they obviously are like, I used to be, or this or that. It's like it's a never permanent, like you can't even define it. It's just an idea.
Yeah, it's non-tangible, but that's the whole sale of it.
That's the first Marvel comics. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they got popular, and like enough to move like, the way of life and shit.
I'm like, You're talking about Marvel, the first Marvel.
Oh, well, look, I know we've gotten deep onto the Pagey train where we've gotten straight into Jesus, and we're going to...
Jesus is a superhero.
We're dissecting Jesus at the moment.
He was like, issue 1, Jesus.
Yeah, well, it is, yes. Jesus is like Superman, right? If you think
he is like, Superman.
It's like, because if you're going to invent
I thought you were talking about the actual...
Well, you look at Superman, he's like going like that as well.
Yeah, it's true. Like, Jesus is like Superman. It's that first comic book idea, and then you go, oh, it's not so much fun to have that in the story. We need to have limitations on superpowers, so we need to have just one superpower per superhero, and then we can make them unique. So Jesus is like the first story we told of Superman. I dig it.
Yeah, you know DC
it got out of hand. I
think. But then you got the Mary Magdalene,
really out of hand.
The Mary Magdalene comic, it's really sassy.
They're like, oh, this will only be 10 people are going to read this. Next minute. It's like,
wait, do you reckon
people are fighting on like imaginary the internet? Like, it's like, what is happening?
Bro, you look at like the Star Wars community online. It's so fucking psycho on there.
Yeah, but like religion is like 15 times that. Like, on crack.
Like. No, look. One day,
you think it's 15 times that on crack.
You think people argue about like Star Wars? Have you met like religious people that believe in different things? It's like, oh,
yeah. Well, the Star Wars story is a very Jesus story as well.
But and it's like, why not? I believe in Star Wars. Yeah, that's like worth arguing about as well, just as much as like a religion.
Yeah. Well, I think the guys writing Star Wars may have lifted that a little bit.
Yeah, they were like, let's turn it into
referencing. We're referencing.
Yeah.
Just like you can tell, George Lucas was a genius because he turned Alec Guinness into like a conscience. Like it's like run, Luke. Run.
That's a good impression. That's pretty good. Run, Luke. Yeah, but look, back to bands, man. Like, you guys have been like, I know we got
there's going to be like 15
we got deep on the
Star
Pagey
Wars like detours along the way.
Yeah.
Strap in.
Bible and Star Wars detours. Yeah. That's the name of our new
Jesus.
Jesus.
We're transforming it into a Christian channel so we can get our 6 a.m. Sunday prime time.
Anyway, my point is, like, you guys are like involved in bands and whatnot. You guys got a bit of a band history. You were managing the band at one point.
I was, like a while ago. It's a long story. Yeah, I mean,
I always get the name of the band stuffed up because I always go the Pillager. Yeah, the Pillager.
Yeah, like Pillager, like
Pillager. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I got it right.
But yeah, like fucking, well, we did that weekend and we had the van and like fucking Aiden was in there and.
Was this when you guys were on tour or?
Yeah, it was like a weekender. It was like a Sydney like sort of thing, but we recorded an EP in Canberra. Once and fucking that's.
Well, yeah, like
like
we had some like. I would.
And he was with us.
I would basically be like the manager / like. Taxi driver, like
well, so many jobs in a band. So many jobs in a band.
I was more like part of the process behind the scenes. Helping the band go. Okay, if we play this venue, we need to do a poster. We need to do a van. We need to whatever it is, or even if it's not. It's and being in a manager, it's like you're just helping out, but it's not just about shows. It's about like recording. Like going to Canberra.
Yeah,
it's like it wasn't even for a show. We literally like. We, stayed in this, like, we had, like, all of us had, like, no money, and we were like, all right, we're going to go down there for 2 days, and, like, so overnight, and, record this, they were recording guitars, and we were like, oh, we'll just book somewhere, and it ended up being this, like, really fancy, like, hotel right at the airport in Canberra, and we're just, like, after, like, two sweaty dudes like playing guitar in like a little room for like 3 hours, and then we get back to it's like we just felt so out of it. But you don't really talk about that when you talk about like, oh, bands have to do all of this extra work in the background, and you think, oh, they just go to shows and this and that. But
yeah, the shows are the smallest part of it, really, because you've got so much that leads up to the show. Even just rehearsals, getting your shit down on tracks. I've probably been to more
rehearsals than shows, like, because I would just go and listen in, and it's not even that I'm like, I'm not musical. I don't have any skills playing guitar or singing, so I'm not like there to go, oh, you guys should do the music this way. My job would more have been like just to be supportive, but also be like, okay, they're not experts at doing this, that, or whatever other skills a manager might have, so leave the music to them. I don't care what you do, really. I'd put in my 2 cents, but it's like I'm not going to tell them how to play guitar or sing or whatever.
Oh man, you would have been a godsend.
But I could also say, maybe you should do this venue, or maybe you should, they're like, hey, we need a room in Canberra for, and then I'm just sleeping in this.
Here's money. Just can you organise it?
It's like a problem solver, basically.
Yeah.
But also, like I get out of it as being like supporting friends.
It sounds like a film producer. That's what a film producer does.
And it's
That's
like,
what I do.
and it's like being supportive, but also making sure, this and that gets done because they have an outcome in mind. Oh, we want to do an EP. We want to do a music video. We want to play a show. And I would be like, all right, I'll just do I'll use my skills because I do, design or this photography or this or that. I would help in that aspect.
Yeah.
But in terms of musically, it was fun to just kind of be around that,
Well, it's good to have an outsider from the band doing that from little experiences I've had like that, because then it holds the band to account.
Yeah.
Like when you're just a band on your own, like, because I generally would manage the bands that I was in, and then I have to be.
That's what I think Chad does a really good job at doing that. Without, like, I was more of a like, I think someone individually in a band needs to be like this. They're a team. They need like a team manager.
Yeah.
And then they still have a manager. Yeah. Like it's a different, experience.
Well,
if you're like the manager and the team manager, you end up being like stressed out and it's too much.
Oh, dude, what you're talking about? It's like a dream. Why didn't I meet you fucking 10 years ago, bro?
Yeah, you could have like, it's like someone's handling all of that, whereas all of the band members might not want to take that responsibility. They're just like, I'm here to play whatever, guitar or drums or sing. So, Chad basically is like band member, and he would also do a lot of this work himself.
Yeah.
Well, you need to share the water. You need to share the load,
Yeah. Sure.
I think one year we did 30 shows, man, 35 shows in a year, and that's a lot. That's a heavy load.
That's heaps. That's heaps.
Yeah. Well, you get beyond your audience. They say in music, especially local scene, don't burn your audience, right? So don't go to the same venue twice too often.
Yeah.
Because you burn your audience. I actually say, lean into that. Actually,
like, you're not going to play there every week, but you go back to where people enjoy, seeing you.
Yeah, you're going to get those people back eventually, but you shouldn't think about them as your immediate audience all the time. Because your thinking is, I need to get the door set.
You can't just play there like once every 2 years. Just because they're down the road from you. Like, people still want to see you because you're from there.
Yeah, that's right. And they're either going to go or they're not. So I say, don't take the attitude of not burning your audience. Take the attitude of inviting audience. Because if you think about burning audience, they're your
friends
precious,
or people that you know in the area. If they're ever going to come to something, you're going to invite them to.
You become too precious with that cohort.
Yeah, and then they're going to be like, where did this come from?
Yeah. So and they'll love you anyway. They love you anyway.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
Yeah. I reckon I say lean into that. Don't pull back from doing shows. If you think you're going to burn an audience on a show, still do the show, because you might pick up new audience out of that. And lineups are everything. I found lineups are everything.
Interesting. Like, you don't want to turn down shows in general. Like the idea is to think about, like,
they're just fun.
Imagine having two.
That's it. It's about you as well.
It's like, imagine having 2 offers to do a show. Like, that's a problem no band ever really has at the moment. Is like, they're looking to play shows. People want to play. People want to go to them. There's just nowhere to book them because. It'd be, imagine having the problem of having too many offers, even if you're a local band. We could play here or we could play there. That's almost
no venue's going to put you on 6 weeks after you've played.
At the moment, that's why if you get any offer, you should be like, we jump at it, because even if it's a shitty offer, you're still playing a show.
You're hanging out with your homies.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, but I've had promoters say to me, "Oh, you played at this venue, which is 300 meters down the road from our venue 2 weeks ago, so I'm not going to put you on." I'm like, man, but you're a different venue, man.
Cunts.
It's that burning audience mentality.
Yeah, it's also like, depends on, the size of the venue.
I'm bringing other bands with me too.
What if the small venue had a, really good sellout show? You could be like, that's an intimate, whatever experience where it's like less people. But if it's a band that's going to sell out a venue up the road that's like the size of the Enmore or Metro Theatre in the city, like, we don't have anything like that in Penrith. We have
one at the Lair. One at the Lair. Got one down.
We have some. Really good venue facilities in like Panthers, but like local bands aren't going to sell out like a small, like they're a small band, they're not going to sell out a huge space. So it's kind of almost embarrassing to put them through that experience of playing somewhere big with no audience. So you need venues of small to medium to large in order for that whole process to work. Yeah,
you do, and it's around robin. You got to go around those venues.
Yeah, but if all you've got around you is huge venues, of course you're never going to get a show in your local town.
Water, that's all right.
You want some water? Yeah, I'm going to go with some water, bro.
Yeah.
You going to go? You both want some water?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a top up, please.
Yeah, I'll give you a top up. Yeah, but playing shows is where it's at, right? And don't get me wrong, I love rehearsals, love going to a studio.
They're the best, eh?
Yeah,
Rehearsals are fucking fun.
Well, rehearsals I compare to like a men's shed.
It's literally like it's
therapeutic.
Because I was like, I'm not musical. The first time I ever went to like a band prac, I thought it's like, not, it wasn't necessarily. I thought it was going to be like not a music lesson, but I thought it was going to be very just like, all right, we're going to play this,
this structure. You had
but
the structure
it's like,
in
it's
mind.
literally just like hanging out. Like you could literally practice right here, right now, if you have like. It's literally just people hanging out, like in talking about ideas. It's not it's not just so literal as a.
It's a communication exercise.
It's work in a way because you guys will still talk about, should we do this show? What songs should we play? It's not all just like let's get on the beers and
and the practice regime is
getting on the beers and jamming is fun.
It's exactly it's both. It's like it's all in one. It's like a positive but also fun experience.
Well, you practice your babies and that's your warm up.
Yeah.
Like, you always practice on your babies to warm up, and then you go, all right, what are we working on? What are we doing? We've done the set. What's our addition to the set?
You're also feeling comfortable. You're like, we're not driving here or there after interstate.
Yeah.
So at a prac, you can actually probably let your hair down more and actually enjoy and be yourself.
Oh, and your banter.
And then I imagine
hanging with the homies.
But then when you're at a show, you're like, oh fuck, like I've got to play in front of 100, 200, 300 people. You're just like, oh, I've got to. It's like more. That's when you're at work.
Yeah.
But the other stuff is more just like it's fun,
Oh yeah,
like friends hanging out, just doing, all right. Yeah.
And you feel better if people show up with grievances, right? You can either put it into the music, have a chat about what's going on. Like you go, oh, man, my fucking girlfriend just left me today. You're like, oh shit, man, let's play this fucking song, man, and then let's it's therapeutic.
Yeah,
it's a therapeutic
it
nature to it.
influences like all their how they work together, what they do next. You go figure it brings you together closer as people. And if you're in a band, I think any band that's good is like they have it doesn't matter how good or bad they are on whatever instrument. It's like what they have as like friends. It's like, oh, we all get it. They're on whatever wavelength that produces something that's like, oh, whatever happened to us, we turned it into like a song.
Yeah, I found there's two kinds of musicians though. Like there's musicians that may be proficient at playing guitar or doing keyboard or whatever the instrument is. But you get them into a room with other musicians and they can't jam. Yeah. There's some musicians I've been with like, wow, you're a talented guitarist. Like you hear him play. And then you go put them in a room where I need you to play with this bass guitarist and this rhythm guitarist. Let's just write something right now. Let's just jam. Let's see what we come up with. And they get stuck. Yeah. There's other guys that I've been with, where you go, I think I've got very little music experience but can play a guitar.
I think that's like two different things. It's like
when
you say
click.
Musician, it's like some people are like, some of those people you'd compare to someone who goes and plays in an orchestra. They're there to play perfectly because they've practiced it. They know exactly what they're going to do. Whereas like
it's methodic.
When it's a different type of musician, that's like you're more of a performer or storyteller or you're improvising and whatever. It's two different things. Like
I think you nailed it. A storyteller, especially, it is about telling stories. You've got to be brave to tell a story, and brave to tell a story with your peers and your band members. And some of it can get quite heavy, man. Like doing heavy metal, man. It's quite emotional, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like fucking. When you're in a band with like someone for a few years and you like do the tours and you've kind of like been in a van together or you've slept on a floor or whatever, like it's kind of like
4 or 5 days in a row with like guys just farting in a van.
Yeah, and like you're fucking spending you're overspending on tour because like
you eat KFC every day for a week.
Yeah, Macca's and
no one has done a solid poo.
Shit, like shit tons of seven. Like there's only
it's not fun. It's fun, but it's like it's also like it's like not it's. Yeah, it's an experience. It's hard. It's not like it's
fucking hard.
It's not like if we all had money and
when you're at the venue,
whatever, you're like it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or not. Like you're just out with your friends and you're just going through life. But they're like, oh, we're gonna play in front of like a few hundred people, like when we're in a new town, or when you even at like a local show, you're just like, oh, all of my friends are here. Like it's like, why shouldn't that? Why is that experience exclusive to like big cities or big venues where it's like. You start small and it could be, just but you need those places to go in these sort of places. Yeah.
Oh, but look, just performing, man. Like it's something I haven't done in a long while. Is perform original music, and it's something that's always in my mind. It's something that I do in the shower, man. It's something I do in the quiet car while I'm stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Some of my most embarrassed moments in my life are people catching me practicing in my car.
Anytime I see someone doing shit like that, I'm just like, that's mad, mate. Like, keep doing it.
I've got the devil horns a lot, actually. Because I practice here a lot, obviously, in my studio. I sing a lot. I've got karaoke set up upstairs as well. We've got dual mics, and we all have a go, But I've got there's a I don't know how he's disabled, but I think he's got autism. And he hears me sing in the shower, man, and he sings.
Yeah.
And we hear each other sing all the time, man.
awesome.
So I've got this strange, undisclosed sort of relationship with music with my neighbour that clearly, because I've heard him go off in different ways, clearly he's not normally sociable. But we communicate through music across fences, man. And he does heavy metal, man.
Yeah,
I've heard him do heavy. I've inspired him to do heavy metal because well, I'll go over everything Otis Redding to Lamb of God, man. Like I fucking love it all.
It's like a YouTube sesh with like us is just random band after Have
you seen?
We try to like probably outdo each other of like what is the most like cooked, heavy as fuck, like just make you sick kind of music, and then next we'll be like, oh, we should watch like something chill, and then it's like let's watch like the most brutal.
What's like?
But we also look up like local bands.
What's the heaviest song that you can think of, like top of your mind?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like right now, like just.
I think I'd be going towards Meshuggah.
Okay, yeah.
Something like New Millennium Cyanide Christ. I think would be something that's maybe Pantera, Great Southern Trendkill. That's pretty heavy. Yeah. What I've been doing a lot of at the moment, big shout out, Steve-O, is Tesseract. That's what a band I've been listening to. Yeah, Lilac is another one. Yeah, nice. I love Spotify, man. It gives you those suggested bands. You're like, no, this fucking band. Yeah.
I'm trying to like come to my like, what's the fucking heaviest? Like,
it was the heaviest band. Yeah, it was the heaviest song.
Like fucking Infinite Annihilator's got to be up there. Like. Have you heard Infinite Annihilator?
I haven't heard that one, no.
Yeah, like they got a song called Cunt Crusher.
What a title.
Yeah.
Just some easy listening.
Oh, fucking Knocked Loose are pretty good. Like they're not at the same level of Psycho, but they're just like a hard fucking
it's a different kind of. It's like how do you define
like
heavy?
It's weird because it's like people like it's metalcore, but like with hardcore vocals. I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think the heavy for me is like the body commitment, so body commitment to drumming, body commitment to strumming, body commitment to vocals. And I think when you start up in that tempo and holding on to melodics, like there's songs that I've done where I go, when I listen back to songs that I've done like 5 years ago, I'm like, holy shit, man, I can't believe I used to do that, man. I didn't listen to the lungs on it, fuck. If I tried to do that now, I think I'd have a heart attack or something. Way out of practice, but man, I think it's those body commitments and that thing. That's
100%.
It's those rhythms and that sort of.
Have you seen Steven Seagal play guitar? Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal. Can we pop it up or?
Oh man, do you want to bring on the goal? I don't know if we want to bring on the goal.
Steven Seagal. He's got music on here.
Hook us up with.
He's got a music
goal.
Yeah, Steven Seagal like music video. He's got it. It's what? Yeah, he's like not playing a pick when he's playing electric guitar, but he's not playing a pick. Or he's just not using a pick.
Is there anything this man does not do?
Oh no,
he does everything.
Steven Seagal, dust my broom.
Yeah, chuck it on.
Whoa,
it's like
this is a thing.
It's like,
man, you've been way too far down this rabbit hole. Like, you were telling me about this a few weeks ago.
Oh, it's Psycho, man. Like, check it out. Like,
get the fuck out of here.
Like, he's got like that
somewhere there.
He's got that stupid like
keyboard mute.
He's got like that stupid like fucking
donut
like goatee thing going on. It's like 65-year-old Steven Seagal. It's
there you go.
But he's just oh my god, he's so bloated. Like that's why I feel like
I just can't believe this is a thing.
He's not peak Steven.
Yeah, this is like 2016, I think.
He's not peak goal.
Yeah. Steven Seagal, guitarist.
Like, what can't this guy do? Except play guitar.
Be Vladimir Putin's buddy.
He can certainly hire a whole bunch of running guns and put it.
Yeah, see, he doesn't use a pick. Like, but look how he's playing. He's using his, and it sounds fucking awful.
This is like high school recital shit.
It looks like a package when he like has his jacket up like that, eh? Like full buttoned and everything. Like,
I just can't believe he's playing it like that.
Look at those eyes, man. Like, what the fuck happened?
He's not doing that. He's not playing those tracks.
No, yeah.
Like
That's not real.
It's
You
like
can't
what-
play it like
He's
that.
holding the rest of the band at gunpoint.
Have you ever seen anything like that?
it's.
I've never.
Oh, he's singing. What did he say? I'm just like, what were those lyrics?
But he's just.
He looks like Chopper Reed.
we got
he's not doing
Chopper
that.
Reed at home.
He's not doing that. He's not playing that guitar.
Look at that.
He's holding it.
He's not playing that guitar.
Look at the drummer. It's like, oh, I got to put this hood on so no one recognizes me. Eh? Oh, fuck is.
No way he's playing that guitar.
Now that you pointed it out, I'm like, oh, because I don't play guitar. I wouldn't fucking know, but like now
I've
I'm
stared
like,
at a lot of guitar
oh.
players playing fucking on the next band. He ain't doing that.
he's just like,
Look at his fingers.
Look at
his
his
fingers.
it's like giving a 5-year-old a little play guitar and being
Like,
like,
imagine
yeah,
he's
you're
doing-
really playing. Like
He's doing the chords.
he thinks he's playing. Like
But I don't think
they're not
there's-
telling him that someone's playing for him off the side of the stage.
Yeah, it's like not turned
He
on.
thinks he's
like,
plugged in.
He's
like,
not
I sound
fumbling
good.
through any of that.
They took like the batteries off, and, like his producer or whatever, like learnt guitar, trying to figure out what he was doing.
They're like, oh my god, don't let Steven Seagal play the guitar.
Please don't like torture. Just imagine being like, hey, bro, do you want to come and watch Steven Seagal play?
No.
Yeah, don't ever go. Whack on that Steven
I'm not that
Seagal
desperate
track,
for
man.
live music. Like,
You know, I gotta say though, his movie titles could make sick band names like Above
dude.
the Law,
Yeah, man. Some of
Under
those movies,
Siege.
some of
Could
those
be a
movies
sick
were
band
mad
name.
though. They were mad movies,
Oh.
man. He had
They
his
were.
peak. Yeah, they were cool movies, man. And they
Man.
were in that era of the time, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, even the grain of those movies is, testament to the
it's
time.
cool. Like it's like you watch it and it's like they don't make movies like this anymore.
yeah, it's shot on
It's
an
like-
old school film.
But at
yeah.
the time, like when they came out, they were like, "These are some cool action movies."
Oh, yeah.
Like they're totally different. That action movie versus what action movies are
Yeah,
now.
but
is
yeah.
like two
It's the
different
cheaper
things.
Kodak though, so
Oh,
they're shooting
okay.
it on the cheaper 32mm. They're not
But-
shooting
but
on the
there's a
same.
charm to that. It's good. I'm not
That's
saying
it.
it's
Yeah,
bad.
that's what I mean.
I'm
That's-
saying they're different. That's
That
what
has
we
that
have.
granular thing, the same as like Tango and Cash or
Yeah.
like Lethal Weapon, man. I suppose Lethal Weapon was a bit more upper market.
Have you seen Crank with Jason Statham?
Oh, dude,
That
Have you
is-
seen
that-
the second one.
That's like,
Have you seen the second one?
yes,
they're both fucking crazy.
but like the first one, like I just remember like when I was a kid, fucking and DVDs were around. For like if you opened up the drawer, you got like Star Wars, Simpsons, fucking
Yeah,
like because I was a kid, I was like fucking 10 or whatever. So it's all kid.
I got Ninja Turtles right up there.
Yeah,
That was
like Batman or fucking Spidey, whatever.
fucking
And
love
and my
Batman.
dad would like buy DVDs occasionally, and Crank was in there, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And later on, like when me and a couple of homies were fucking stoned and 16, I was like, "Bro, like I don't know what this fucking movie is. Like, let's chuck it on." And
dude.
Jason Statham is like on the edge. He's like snorting coke, so he's doesn't get a heart attack.
Otherwise, he'll die. Like he has to.
Yeah,
snort coke.
and,
Like,
and he
It's an emergency.
yeah.
and like he
I'm gonna die if
he
I don't have another
fucks.
life.
He just like fucks on the street. Like, I wish like we saw some donger though. Like when he was doing that, like, be aggressive. Like,
Hey, I've got to take a piss break, man. Is that
Yeah,
cool? If I can
yeah,
take a piss
yeah,
break?
yeah,
go
That'd
for
be
it,
great.
man.
Can you kill the record there, Mr. Young?
Yeah.
We'll come back.
yeah, fucking oath. Like a mirror.
Hey, we rolling, man? We just rolling? Always rolling.
Fucking oath.
All right, we're back from piss, man. But running bands, that's where we were at during our durry break, because that's how we rock on the Pagey train. Not that these guys having a durry. I was having a durry.
Yeah. What about when
Dart.
the festival that like at Tattersalls? Like when we did the fucking
Oh,
Justin
Justin
Fest.
Fest. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
talk
like-
about Justin Fest.
Yeah, so 2018, fucking Tattersalls, we do like a music fest. Like it was mainly Andrew that fucking did this, but yeah, like there was like 500 people at Tattersalls. Like,
Was that the above part, the upstairs
It
bit, or was that
supposed-
in
It
the...
was supposed to be to begin with. So there's like a whole really long backstory about the whole experience, and it's the last kind of proper show I think that I really put on, because like since then maybe I've done some just individual shows that I've helped out with James Band, but this was the last time that I'd kind of done something big that was like involving, I think we had I can't remember exactly, probably like 14 different artists playing at the same venue on the same day.
I remember this gig
in Penrith. Yeah,
I remember this show.
And originally, because I booked that many people, half of them were sort of more like easy, because it was the whole idea of it was that it was not just like a heavy. It was more of a like
lineup is everything, man.
Heavy
Mixed
punk
lineup.
rock and kind of like
Mixed lineups, man. I'm a big fan.
And then it was sort of like half the people were, one was supposed to be one room, and then the other half, and they were going to be like a normal festival. You'd see a big, like 2 stages.
Heavy shit one stage.
Yeah,
not
and then
so
it was
heavy
like
shit
this half
the
of
other
people
stage.
could go in that room, the other half could go in the other room if they want, and then it's sort of
I call it girlfriend friendly.
And then also, it was also like
girlfriend friendly.
It was trying to support local bands that were some from out here, and then obviously from other like local bands, smaller bands that are from somewhere else. It's a chance for them to
access,
come and play.
access for the
and
stage.
then the draw card was, and the other, I don't know. I suppose Justin Fest is a weird name for a festival if you don't understand the context, but I'll explain that so then I can explain. Yeah,
what does that mean?
So Justin is, one of my really close friends who started. I used to, be his housemate, and he started his own booking sort of label, I guess, Z Vegas Bookings, and so. He was also, before this all happened, he was a guy that worked and was in bands and then worked with bands to either manage them and this and that and whatever, but never in an official capacity. But then it got to the point where he was doing the live music at Tattersalls in Penrith and
had
other venues as well.
Definitely had a love for it.
Oh, it was like his, dream job. And basically it started out really well because it was a band venue that was a pub that, was in Penrith and had regular shows, and it was kind of... at a good rate where it was getting people in. But he was kind of like, okay, let's get like a more interesting variety of different shows. And instead of someone who was like, oh, we'll just get any bands and put them all together, his approach was, okay, not just any 5 bands that don't really match. Let's like put a night on where this is maybe the heavy night. Yeah. Then we have another night which is more like the cover bands or older generation
subgenre nights.
So it wasn't like it was 5 nights of just random entertainment. It was like let's do it properly and implemented that kind of thing. Anyway, he was there for about a year or something like that, for example, and helping other bands, and
Yeah, man.
But then the way it went,
our band played for him twice, man. Yeah.
I think the venue either changed owners or whatever
happened. It did, and then basically they were their approach was, oh, we're doing well, we can just sit on cruise control, we'll just get the licensee or whoever else was a manager there, and we don't need to have an employee whose sole job is to book shows, get the bands, pay them, organize the sound guy, or all a million different things that a producer would do. Well, I had a very passive-aggressive conversation with the new manager.
Yeah, well,
really?
That's the best way I can put that.
I don't have recent experience since.
It was after it went down.
Basically since Justin Fest. And anyway, I've not told the most probably important part about Justin is that sadly he passed away in 2016, very suddenly. After he'd already been, supporting these bands and building a business,
he was a driving force.
Yeah, 100%. He
wasn't a profiteer.
He was working, and
then
but this was his like he wasn't earning money out of it. Every cent like that was earned went to a band, or paying the fee for the petrol on the tour that went to wherever. He would do everything top to bottom, and that's the stage he went from, where he was managing shows at a venue. And then going, I'm going to do this for myself and start from scratch, and then kind of built it up to this thing where he was supporting bands that are now playing at festivals or bigger shows and done bigger and better things, even though they just started at like a local venue. The whole point was that that's what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go and book shows at Kudos Arena. Like he was kind of just looking after the people that are starting out, which is what he went through. And
he was doing what I was doing in film.
Exactly.
That festival drive, that network.
And he was just the one that was like, dealing with a million different bands every week, people you don't know, venues in other places when he was starting to book shows interstate. He was kind of getting a relationship going with a lot of these venues and bands and going, I can put you and you together.
He inspired me, man. He totally inspired me.
And it was all a kind of like thing. So sadly, in 2016, he passed away very suddenly out of nowhere. Like I said, we were housemates. I was living with him, and one day he was there and fine, and we said goodnight and whatever, and I thought I'll just see you in the morning. Next day, I didn't. He passed away.
That's very sad.
It was as anyone who's been through something like that, it's not easy. But I think the way that helped me kind of move on from that was he instilled in me like being in a band is one thing, but working with bands and helping them in a way that, either they can't help themselves or they don't have someone to help them that way is like, it's so rewarding. And, I got into like live music photography as a part of this, designing posters, all of this sort of stuff, where I was working...
The other nuances that go into it,
working as a designer in just like more of a corporate role, where I was like... So I was doing all of this stuff on the side and starting to go and, support bands. And that's how I've kind of met Chad and a lot of other musicians. By just starting out small, going to literally Tattersalls was the first place I took photos. It was like it was a Phil Jamison like acoustic night, so it wasn't like the biggest band in the world, but it's someone who was like, there was that's the sort of thing they had on a Thursday night at Tattersalls.
Yeah, man, you probably photographed my band.
Yeah. And then I was there, and from there it just kind of grew. So he had a huge influence in who I am. And that's kind of why anyway, leading up to Justin Fest was. Since he passed away, we thought, all right, let's do a show in honor of him and, get the bands that he would have worked with and has worked with, or who he would want to who he would be, I think, what would Justin put on this lineup, or who are the people that I can help give an opportunity to play with. And so the third one we did, which was in 2018, I think was...
December.
December or November, December.
December was the first one.
And then anyway, the draw card for this was one of Justin's favorite bands is Unwritten Law, and he was like one of their kind of like original. They came to Australia back in the probably 90s or whatever, and he'd go to their shows, and they toured with Grinspoon and all these kind of things. And so he would just every time they came here, so they even sort of got to know him from those early days of when they were even though they're an international band, they weren't megastars probably at that point. Anyway, so he got me interested in Unwritten Law. I was like, I didn't really know about them. I was like, they're a cool kind of like pre-Blink-182 kind of punk, fun rock band. And then anyway, so for this third Justin Fest, like I thought, I'll go out on a limb and just see if Scott Russo, the singer of Unwritten Law, I know he tours frequently doing acoustic shows with Phil Jamison. And he knew Justin and, remembered him from the shows, and he reached out after he passed away and was like, I'm sorry to hear about Justin, and, showed his support. And so I reached out to him at this particular planning stage of being like, I've got all these local bands and, bands that Justin's worked with, who else could I get? And made it all happen. And he got back to me and said, I'm 100% keen. I'd love to do that. And it's the first time he played his the Unwritten Law acoustic album. It's the first time it's been played live anywhere, and he out of his own pocket basically hired other musicians to come and play on the night.
He dropped down on it,
and it was his only Australian show. He literally flew from LA to Australia and back again within like 4 or 5 days turnaround, and that was it. Like, he was so committed to doing it, and I was like, holy shit. But that was like it was the biggest task I've ever undertaken, trying to pull all that shit together by myself, with the help of Chad and other friends and people that are in the bands, luckily working with me, being like, we'd love to do it. So it was for a good cause.
I had no idea that you guys are doing that, and I must say, it's a privilege to say to you guys right now, like, understanding him as a person, as someone that's an outsider looking in, as a metal guy out looking, and a promoter is more of the point. He inspired me.
Yeah, everyone like the most funny thing about
he took my old band on tour. Like when I was a 20-year-old, he was
how wonderful to share this experience.
He was like all in. He would treat it like it doesn't matter what kind of band it was. He was like getting.
He looked after you.
He was basically not like, hey, let's just go and party the whole time. Even though it was that fun aspect, he would be like the dad.
We got to work.
He'd be like, make sure we're all in a safe.
Hey, we've got to go to work.
We've got a roof over our heads. We've got this and that.
200%.
He would it was like he was looking after his family. Like, that's how he treated every band.
And that's what inspired me.
And it was
about
selfless,
how he did that,
and it was kind of like that. And I learned from him being like, all it takes is reaching out and offering help to people, and they, you end up working together more, and you both get better at whatever you're doing.
Provide the architecture, and they'll fill the space, right?
Yeah.
And then the money will come. Like, it's not about the money. It's about it's about
money
the exposure in the
thing,
right. It's about the exposure in the right way. It's not about going up to someone. Like, do you want to do this for exposure? It's actually about creating exposure.
One thing that we were talking about when we were just outside was like, as a manager, you're kind of like doing all this work, and people think, you're making the most money because you get the money first. But it's like you get them. We were saying it was like you basically get to keep the change. If you're the one organizing a show, it doesn't matter if it's X amount of money that comes back. Basically, it all gets spent.
Yeah,
and the band get like, if they're lucky, even super successful bands will get like $50 or $100 each if they're lucky, and that could be like a sold out show. And you know, it's like people probably think that, you know, as a band they're touring and they're living the high life and whatever.
They think you got money.
It looks like it. But then even if you have a successful night, like no one literally is making money. Like the pub is making the money, or wherever you're playing is making money. But
you're time rich. That's the thing that looks like money.
The fact that if you go through that and you're not earning money and you still choose to do it because you love it, that's when you know, a lot of people give up. We're not earning money, let's quit.
Yeah,
you know, and then there's bands that are like, we don't care about the money. Like, it'd be awesome if we were millionaires, but like, you do it because it's fucking fun. Like, you do it because you want to.
Dude, I'll tell you a tour story. Like, I remember, like, because you're talking about, like, we get, like, fuck all money sort of thing. Or even if we do get a little bit of money, it's just covering a segment of
it's like
petrol.
Now we can pay for t-shirts like that. We
yeah.
might or might not
sell.
It's
pretty luxurious to actually pay for the t-shirts. It's lucky.
Like everything is out of pocket for a band these days.
Oh
like
you got to throw down. You have to throw down.
Like, even big bands, like people go broke, like, and they're selling out arenas.
It happens all the time.
But imagine like on the local scale.
I played Brisbane one time and fucking right across the venue, the New Globe Theatre. I don't know if it exists anymore, but across from it, there was like a strip club there.
I know the spot,
the cabaret club, and like we went in there.
That's right, it's a cabaret.
Was there a cabaret show on?
There certainly was.
Well, you go in
a certain kind of.
Well, because as we were like getting to this venue, where someone in the van was like, "Hey, you know, there's a strip club across the road."
A bunch of guys in a van would never say that.
And I don't know.
Just pulled into town. There's a strip
club.
So
what do we do?
Like, I wasn't there just because this is a Chad story. So
but like
it's across from the venue. Should we go?
Yeah, someone was saying that in the van, and I was like, "Oh, how?" Because I'm thinking I'm on a budget, like I can't just like be. I was like, "Oh, how much is it?" You know, sort of thing.
I have $10.
And apparently, it's a $10 entry, and I'm kind of like, "All right, cool." So like and the economy was different. So like getting 2 JD and Cokes, that was I don't know $12 or whatever.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, and
wow.
And like I think at the time I had maybe like $200 to just as food
for the whole like next 5 days.
Burn money,
like as just food and I don't know, fucking toilet paper, deodorant, whatever.
KFC,
Macca's, 7-Eleven, like
strippers G-strings.
Yeah. cans of Red Bull.
Also, like me. Like, because we were young, we're like...
but also a lap dance at the Cabaret Club.
Yeah, well, what happened is that, like... I've told this, like, to everybody. Like, anyone that knows me know this story.
It sounds like a good start to a story, man.
It
really is.
Yeah, and so the other guitarist gets his, like... private dance, and I'm thinking, oh fuck.
I like the air quotations on that.
Like,
well,
it
wasn't so private.
Because that's what I was thinking in my head. I'm thinking,
there's cameras in there.
But like, I'm like, holy shit, am I going to get like a wristy or something like that?
Oh Jesus, no, you're not going to get that at the Cabaret Club.
No, of course.
Maybe a broken wrist.
That's why they film it.
Well, I felt like I was like losing my virginity for the second time. I didn't know what the fuck. Like,
you're like, what is this place?
Yeah, and like I go up.
You
there,
innocent muso, you.
But
I swear this is my first.
I'm just a metal band, man. I'm just here to fucking play guitar.
Like I'm thinking I'm going to get like a booth or something like that.
Some like,
I go upstairs and this chick with fucking botched tits, like, but she was.
You mean like botched?
Well, like, like, no, like they were fucking
bolt on.
She got like she
in
must
rough
have,
shape, maybe.
She got implants, but like.
Okay, so she got shot in the back with a pair of cruise missiles.
She still had like band-aids like on them, so I was kind of like, oh, fuck.
Oh dear lord.
Well, part of me is thinking, oh, are you like in pain or something? Like, I don't think you're meant to be.
She didn't look like she was having the best time.
But I'm just thinking, I don't know if
you're like, this is my first time. This must be normal.
Well, there's two definitions. I now have two definitions of tough. Like one definition of tough would be jogging home from a vasectomy. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Or pole dancing after a boob job.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, so
either both of those things.
Yeah. It's right up there.
But so I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking get this private dance, and I go upstairs, and I'm thinking it's going to be a booth, but it's like a big room with. Like that's like 40 meters long. There's like seats on either side and the seat at the back. And on the left, I see the other guitarist in my band getting a lap dance, and he's like give me a thumbs up, be like, hey, bro, how's it going, and I'm
to be
just
20
making
again.
memories.
To be 20 again. This is amazing.
yeah,
I love this story.
He's got like a chick motorboating like in front of him and all that, and so then Is
there any other kind of boating?
Well, so get this right, him and this chick are there. They're the only people.
This is where it goes downhill. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm waiting for the decline.
Yeah, hear me out. So like, fucking.
Oh no, I'm listening.
So the other guitarist is getting a dance like on the left, fucking.
Oh no, Chad, where are we going?
And on the right, on the right side, there's another, client and his, worker, fucking.
Provider,
and this cunt looks like Mr. Burns. Like he looks like
Mr. Burns and his content provider.
Like,
I gotcha.
Like a Rupert Murdoch.
Like a real creepy. The last person you want to dance against.
Basically a prune with white hair sticking out.
Yeah,
Okay, I've gotcha.
This chick's like, I don't know, she looks no older than 24. Has her just legs up, posing everywhere and fucking.
Yeah, the old hello sailor. Yeah,
and Rupert Murdoch's just like an inch away from, like, yeah.
Funky Town.
And
just like,
and I'm just like walking past,
this
be
is
like,
as close as I'm allowed to get.
And so like I'm getting my dance and like
you got like a different kind of show happening.
Like I'm getting my dance and like
what's not hot about a prune with hair coming out of it?
And so get this, I've only been in the club for maybe 40 minutes and somehow I've spent $120.
That's pretty
from my $200 budget.
Well, I got $80 left. That goes a long way at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, so like
I should stay longer.
Yeah, and so
that's a week of donuts.
So like after spending $130 at the strip club, like as I'm getting my dance, this woman comes around like with drinks, like being like, "Hey, do you guys
Would you like a drink?"
Yeah. And,
are they free?
And the chick that's like, given her services, she's
like, I'll have one too.
She's like, do you want to buy me a drink? And I'm literally.
Dude,
I'm
I
like,
wish. Do
you know what
this
I
happens
said?
to every guy their first time they go to this kind of place.
Yeah, but she thought that I was hot, and
she's like, I'd love a drink.
When
she said she never does that.
When she was asking me for a drink, the first words that came out of my mouth was, "Sorry, I'm like really broke right now.
I only have $12 on me." Do you accept coins?
No.
Yeah, that was like, and so that was like 2 minutes into my dance. So the rest of
the show hadn't even started yet. That was just like, this was just prees.
The enthusiasm dropped
like a really bad. I spent all my money.
But yeah, so the next day when we're on the van on our way to fucking Newcastle. Newcastle was straight after
the
Brisbane.
city of bricks. Good artist town, actually.
Yeah, I'm like texting my dad in the van, just being like, "Hey, Dad, can I like borrow $80?" And he was like,
"Why?"
Well, he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Oh, tour's more expensive than I thought." Like,
where did you lose your money? I lost it in a G-string.
I like bullshitted the whole thing. I was just like, "Look,
I bought some Bibles." Like,
they
were really expensive, good ones.
Leather bounded Bibles that
my dad did send me $80, but he gave me a lecture. He sent me the $80 and he said, "You just be like, you got to stop wasting your money on shit." And I'm just like,
that's fair enough, man. He gave you $80, man. But
I just took it. I was just like, oh,
yeah, but you fell into the business model. That's the problem.
But so
they got you.
When we got to fucking Newcastle, the other guitarist that was also getting a private dance, we're unloading our gear. And we're pushing our shit to the stage. He's like, "Oh, have you seen my pedal board?" And I'm like, "Nah, I handle my own shit, sort of thing."
Yeah. That sounds like your responsibility.
Yeah, and so he's like, "Oh, I can't find my pedal board." And so the cunt, because we were waiting for him.
Got stolen by a stripper. This is fantastic.
Well, he traded it for a dance. No, just kidding.
I don't think it was a dance.
Oh, no, it was just...
No.
It was dumb. Like, we were waiting for him in the van to come out, because, like, I was, like, in and out, like, in 20 minutes, but he was there for, like, a fucking hour or so, and he walked, like, he left, and we're like, all right, fucking hop in the van, let's, like, fuck off now. And then, yeah, like, he left his pedal board in the venue that we were playing at because we were rushing him out because we were waiting for him, and...
Oh, dude,
it was really funny. Like, I was just like, oh, you fucking dumb cunt.
Oh, dude, the amount of indiscretions and problems that I've had at venues, like, there was one... It was I was at Marrickville. I was at the Factory Theatre, and grifters were next door. The Grifter.
Oh, yeah, the brewery.
The brewery, right? So I was the second. Well, smart thing to do.
It's a dangerous place to have a live music venue next to a brewery.
Next to a brewery, yeah. So
where are all of my musicians and crew
and
audience?
That's right. I went outside for a durry, and then I found this brewery, and I made 20 friends,
Yeah.
And then I realised, oh shit, I'm on stage in 5 minutes, man. They would be panicking. Where the fuck is Ross, right? So oh no, I've lost my fucking shit. Oh no, I've ruined Christmas. Oh, we have to have a break, Young. Can you cut it? Okay. No, it doesn't mean if you start it, stop the roll. I'm good.
We're rolling now.
All right. All right. Yeah, all right. So, sorry we had to cut there, folks. But, yeah, so there I was in Marrickville. I'm in this brewery. Made 20 friends, man. And then, realised I was on stage in 5 minutes. Ended up migrating back to the fucking pub. And they're like, where the fuck have you been, man? We're on stage. You go on stage and you do your fucking thing. And, people get upset about those sort of things. But I don't know. I think it's part and parcel about being cheeky and having fun as a music.
Yeah, that's it. It's not like you're at work at, Woolies where you're expected to stack shelves and you know where you are at all times. It's like you're an adult that's doing something creative and you're, whether you're a band member or you're whatever else, you're all there for something creative and to, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to feel like work, which it is work. The shit aspects that no one talks about, like the whole behind the scenes, getting everyone to show up to practice, people that, don't want to contribute to the artwork for the whatever you're doing. There's going to be it's like running a business where no one has money and no one, it's like the biggest challenge of all time to get a band of any level to get off the ground. And then I imagine it just gets harder the more they go forward. But it's kind of you need to have, the fun side of it where you go, fuck, remember that time when we were
this is why we do it.
Then you write a song or whatever about it and be like, or whatever. It's just part of the, you talk about it and it bonds you as people. You go, we had fun.
Like half of it has to be fun and the other half is the grind.
Yeah, you still got to get up early and go, you're not sleeping until lunchtime.
But even the grind's good though.
You're just kind of let's all get up at 5 a.m. and drive for 9 hours straight in the same car. No one would do that in a sane, 3 dudes fighting for 9 hours in a small. No one's signing up for that, unless you...
talking shit's so much fun, when you're on the road.
We literally listen to the same song 100 times, if Chad's got the aux chord. But, we just literally will have the same conversation we're having now. We're just talking shit.
Yeah, but Chad doesn't mind like that.
We're going on the road trip.
I need to listen to this song 10 times because I fucking love this song, bro.
You know what? That's how I've learnt about music, and Chad's, pointed out, as a guitarist, he might, watch a music video of a band, and they, watching the thing of Steven Seagal earlier where I wouldn't even know the company's playing. But if Chad's watching something, he's like, oh, see when they did that? And I'm like, man, I would have no... So I've learned, people care about that, and then they care about that when they're filming a music video, because if Chad's like, oh, we'll do a guitar playthrough or this or that, we're actually plugged in, we're playing live. It's got to look like we're actually doing it. It's not
authenticity is important.
And if people don't care about, have that level of detail and care, no wonder they're not going to go anywhere. If they just want to go, oh, we'll put something together, we'll slap it together and put it online and everyone's going to show up to our show and we're going to be rich. It doesn't work like that. It's such, looking at it from, my point of view, it's even harder to come up with music because it's you're pulling something out of thin air and going, this is new and it sounds good and there's so many factors that have to go right. It's man, I wish I could do that, but
Well, to do 8 songs on a set, we would write probably 80 songs to do that.
Yeah, it's constant. It's constant.
If you look at the whole time period of it all,
it's not like writing an email where you're just write an email and it's done. It's so crazy. People think it's easy, and I'm ever since I started having this perspective as a manager, I would be like, oh, this is so much work.
The hardest thing is killing your babies. You're like, okay, so we've built this song. We don't like the song, but we just spent all this time on it. You're like, but it doesn't work with the set. It doesn't work with our storyline. It doesn't work with anything. We got to cut it. Yeah. But we worked on it. You got to be the
dickhead sometimes and get in people's face and
Chad's
the most if I was saying, oh, we need to do this, Chad would be like, yep, all right, he's the first person to be like, yeah, I'll do this, I'll help out and whatever. Whereas in any band, I guess there's people that are I just, like I said earlier, you just want to play an instrument, you don't want to worry about anything, but then kind of being the guy that has to be like, all right, well, all the other guys have put money on this, we're waiting for your share, and if this doesn't happen, there's a snowball effect, and then basically you being tight on $50, which is a lot in some ways, and then in other ways it's the big scheme of things. Fuck that. It should be an easy no-brainer.
Yeah,
when you're in a group that you're we're committing to this. There's people that slow this whole process down for other bands is that they're not like, you got to be in it. Like, you got to be like, I'm not going to make money for 10 years. Like, you got to be actually like,
commitment is a big
this is
deal.
art. It's not like you're signing up to work at KFC and you get $20 an hour and you go, all right, yeah, I'm a musician. It's like, it's not about money. It's not a job. It's work, but it's not a traditional job where you deserve a salary. It's like, you're creating something, only you're going to do it if you want to, like, and you motivate. And like, Chad's been in multiple bands where he's often been in that kind of like driver's seat, being like, let's do this, let's do that. Because if no one else puts their hand up, bands will just go in nowhere. They just float and they kind of go in circles and they go
burnouts. Yeah,
you need someone who's going, what's next? Like, what's the next?
But it's like,
what's the next thing? You know,
it's like whoever's best at writing the songs. Like, if they're really good at writing songs, I'm kind of like, all right, well, make that your thing, and I'll look after. Yeah, so if you're good at writing songs, you fucking, like, that's your job. Just fucking write hectic songs if you're the best musician in the band.
Yeah, if you're prolific, get it out, bro.
And like, let them do what they're good at.
Yeah, and like everyone else can chuck their flavor in, and one person might be really good at doing fucking graphic design, or one person might be really good at talking to people. Like, whoever's got like the strengths at contributing to a band, it's like, let them flourish doing that. And whoever's like managing, whoever's the best at like talking to people, just let them do that.
Yeah, lean into their strengths.
Yeah. And like, when you have like 3 people or 3 to 5 people where everyone's like trying to dominate over the other person, you kind of the ship can fucking just
fuck about. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Just 2 max, but like the 2 have got to kind of like simultaneously agree on most shit, so then they can actually put it into...
the people that are like, if they're running it kind of like a dictator, where they're like, I'm making all the decisions and this and that.
It can be like that, yeah.
Obviously, sometimes it can go really well until it doesn't, and then it often ends in conflict. People hating each other and whatever.
When conflict shows up.
Bands that often step away from that, and even if there is one person who's the most motivated and was doing this or whatever, if they can probably, relax if they hand that responsibility over to someone else who can go, all right, you don't have to tell people if you're pissed off at them that, they didn't say this or whatever at practice. I don't have to have political this argument. Person owes me money and I don't want to be the,
I have to be
whatever.
The bad guy.
So it's the manager who's like, all right, it's like not personal. I'm just saying this is what needs to be done and whatever. But then when things come up where it's like, oh, if it's not working out and bands are like arguing and this and that, sometimes it's like you feel the responsibility to be like, maybe it isn't working and it's okay if this happens. Or if you really think, hey, you guys can work it out and stay together as a band, then a manager will do that. But it's like, if you're looking out for it, like from an outside perspective at a band and going, oh, this is working well, that's working well, this person can do that well, whatever, and it works, it's like a dream, that's when it is fun. But if everyone's trying to do the same job, like we're all like, oh, I'm going to decide where we're going to play, and I'm going to decide, like, you're all going to argue. So it's kind of like, figure out what everyone in a band is good at, apart from their whatever, if they're singing or in a playing an instrument. There's other things that you don't have to know everything. You can just be really good at, like, you could be you have your license, you can be the driver of the van.
Ego's
you can contribute in more than one way than just like, oh, I'll just play the guitar and show up to practice and that's it.
And one person in the band might have like all the best gear that can like let you borrow, hey, you don't have this amp, here's this amp I got, so one person could be useless at everything else, but really good at gear or fucking really good at talking.
Yeah, they bring some kind of expertise. Even if sometimes they have like a job outside of being in a band that somehow just suddenly becomes super valuable because you're like, oh, I know someone who has this space that we can go and use to everyone brings something. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, you could be we've met like every band you meet. You have the most environment. You have like the most random collection of human beings that would never probably otherwise hang out. But that you combine them all in a band. And they suddenly make something that's like really cool, and you go, how the fuck did this happen? Like, if that like specific group of people didn't come together, you wouldn't have that song exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, my wife puts it really well. She goes, if you're married or dating someone in a band, they have another girlfriend. And the band is the other girlfriend, like, because it's emotional, right?
Yeah. Fully.
It's emotional. We have difference of opinion, but we're all trying to go to the same place.
Yeah. It's like a whole, like, it could almost be like having a child. Like, it's like or a company of your own. It's like, if
Everyone's
people treat it as a business and look at it as a business, you don't even have to know anything about a business. You just have to know businesses need to sell something and make money, like, or whatever the outcome you want. But it's if you treat it like going to work and doing this and being like responsible, and you go, oh, this isn't actually that hard. It's actually just really logical shit that everyone should do if you're doing this.
Just keep to a schedule.
It's not like,
fully.
you know. And, you know, the more bands that probably should realize that, the more successful they'll probably be. Like, the bands that get the most shows and the ones that I've seen grow and go and do something are the ones that actually put the effort in and do all of this stuff themselves and do all the hard work. And then eventually someone's like, oh, we should help you out. And then they can do other things. But it's like the common factor in all of these successful bands that I've seen in, you know, 5 or 6 years or 7 years or even 8, 10 years, like, you know, they started out playing in a room of like 20 people, and now they're playing at festivals in front of like thousands. And
they're not worried about burning their audience.
You know, I would 10 years ago, I would never have known how they went from there to there. But now I'm like, it's actually, you can just be as an observer going, oh, like this is how it all works, and it's a reality. But the common thing is like these bands that put in the work, try hard, you know, get help.
Well,
all of those
making
things.
edgy
Like,
content, you got to make edgy content,
but
you got to manage that content
as well. You can't expect like something could be the best thing ever. Like I've heard multiple bands being like, "Fuck, these guys are so good," but like sometimes it doesn't work out. People don't like it. Whatever. It's
an unmanaged performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah, like you just need everyone to kind of get along as well. Like, because if you're bumping heads, like it's
you got
to be professional in a like friendly way. Like you can be like, oh, I don't like that dickhead, but like you can still work together. But if you love hanging out with the people that you're making music with, it's going to be so much better.
Oh, dude,
it makes it so much easier.
It's the same in film, man. Like, if you're directing a movie, you got to fall in love with your cinematographer. If you're a vocalist, you got to fall in love with your guitarist, man. You got to have some sort of common ground. Even if that common ground is as an adversary, at least there's respect of being talented.
Yeah, sometimes it's like
that's the basement.
People need to stand up to each other in a band, like. If you really are set on a certain idea or a certain direction,
you gotta hold your ground.
Like you want everyone in the band to like look cool and sound cool. Like what I mean by that is like when you're putting on the show, like when you're trying to get people to come in,
take you seriously.
Stage performance, stage presence,
like whatever beef you have with each other, you kind of put it aside, especially for that set, just being like, let's like be the best version. Of ourselves.
And sometimes
like,
it gives you that energy. You might be like, it works, but
and even if the room like isn't like half full, like you just still give the
same show,
the best.
Sometimes you're just like, fuck, it's like.
Well, that's the part I like being most of the band is the persona that I feel when I'm on stage, man. Because the guy that's screaming into a microphone on stage is not the same guy that you're talking to right now.
Yeah, you
He's
could
a
be like,
different dude.
you could literally. It's terrifying. That's why most people are too scared to even get up and try that. Because it's like, it's fucking scary to think, oh, I'm going to get up there and do this, act this way, play instruments and hope people like it. Like, to me, it's like, it's a terrifying prospect being like, people never, like walking into a venue where you know absolutely no one and you just go, all right, I'm just going to, like, when you could be around your five best mates and you can all be having fun, what you've got to do is go, see that fun we're having in the prac room. Do that on stage. Who gives a shit about people? Whether there's 1 or 10 or 100,000 people watching, you just do what you're doing in there. If that's working, you'll be a really good live
just go
band.
for the guy folding his arms at the back of the stage, right? Like if he's folding his arm at the back, I'm like, I'm going to get that guy. If I can get that guy, I'll get everyone.
Yeah. But it's kind of like if you have such a healthy, rehearsal environment. Going on stage, you just treat it like at the rehearsal.
It's the same thing.
But the only difference is that because when you go to rehearsal, like fucking do what you're gonna do, like on stage, like
that's why it's a rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly. Do what you're gonna do on stage, and when you're on there, it doesn't seem as intimidating because you're just kind of like,
it's almost like acting. It's like you're doing,
you're
practicing for what you're gonna do later. And
it's a role.
It's not like prac isn't like the way I understand it is. You can practice guitar at home. You can learn your songs, right? You can play it perfectly. The other person can play it perfectly. But the whole point of prac is being like, are we all on like the same rhythm? Are we all liking this? What are you going to do?
Is everyone else practicing? Is everyone else practicing, right?
So my perspective was like more of like, it's like so true.
Because like,
making sure everyone else is not like,
if no one's practicing, like you hear it like immediately.
Yeah, and you go, oh, and
like
everyone's more often.
Everyone's been that person in that spot where it's like, oh fuck, they heard my fuck up. I thought I could get away with it by just playing something else, but no.
Oh no, the beauty of
you start like moving around and distracting.
I can always see on stage when fold back isn't working because you watch a guitarist walk over to a drummer. and face them, going, "This is what I'm doing."
Is that what that
me.
is?
Yeah. If you
I've
ever
always been like, why do they do that? That's weird.
oh, it's a bit of stage presence, right?
Yeah.
No, he goes,
I thought they were
I
just-
can't fucking hear
I thought
this
they were.
guy.
I thought they were like just
We
me
good?
having a, you know.
Are we
yeah.
good?
Yeah.
There's that eye contact. Every time I see it on stage, I'm like, he can't hear him. They're on their own.
That's classic.
But I'm seeing, fucking, speaking of bands, I'm seeing My Chemical Romance next week.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I love those guys.
I saw them like 11 years ago, and the year after they broke up, and then they came back, and then they... But like these dudes, like they're in their like mid 40s, but they look like 32. They look really young.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could be doing that. I still look 43.
Yeah. But like the singer, like Gerard Way, he's like 45 or something like that, and fucking...
Well, dude, when I was like 20, right, I never thought I'd be like doing guttural vocals at 35. You know, and when I was at 35, I never thought I'd be doing guttural vocals at 40. I practice doing guttural vocals now, and it's like way better than I was when I was fucking 20, bro.
That's
like,
cool
it's
though.
totally
Like,
night and day.
Most people,
It's night and day.
most
You
people
can't-
not around bands will think, oh, it's just screaming, but it's not. It's like an actual vocal technique where it's like any kind of singer or guitarist. It gets better the more you practice it.
I'll
That's the
lose
thing.
my voice
People think
before I
they
lose
can
my
be just a
growl.
vocalist. Go, oh, I'm a vocalist, and then they don't practice.
I could
It's like
lose
they
my
lose
voice
it.
and not lose my growl. So like if I you know how you get a husky voice?
Man.
Yeah, man. I said, oh no, I got a little bit of water.
That's all.
I'm going to get a little bit of water. We're low on resources, bro.
Is it cool if I go for a quick pee break?
All right, we'll do that. Actually, we probably should sign off, man. Let's just sign
yeah,
off.
all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry,
We should
man.
sign off. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I know we've gotten deep into it. I'm
Yeah,
hanging out
no.
with these cool compadres.
Yeah, we could I could literally talk for the
We could
next
do this for
17
ages.
hours. Like,
Man, we should totally do this again, man. Like, I've had a really good
man,
time.
I've got
Do
nothing
it.
going on. Like, I could do that. Nah, man. Yeah.
We've all got it
no
all
one's
going
gonna
on,
listen
bro.
to that, but yeah.
Man, but between us, we've got a lot of knowledge about how you know,
Yeah.
the arts industry works in Western Sydney, man. I think that's valuable, and you
Yeah.
know, like I'm really stoked to like share this time with you guys. Like, so thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks
Oh,
for having
always a
us.
fun time.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you've been watching the Pagey Train. You can check us out on Spotify. That's right, video on Spotify. You can also go and check us out. Oh, you actually can follow us on Spotify these days. So don't forget to follow us. But also you can go and check us out on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe while you're there and tick for notifications. And man, hey, you can find us other places like iHeartRadio and Apple iTunes. Basically, you can find us anywhere on anything to find podcasts. You guys have been watching the Pagey Train. We'll see you next time. Oh, I got out of that okay. I think
Man,
Man.
like a boss.
like a boss.
Like
I
a
had it
boss.
to the end and then I fucking stumbled at the end. That's all right. That's all right.
Like a boss.